What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Rangers Talk podcast. And today we're going to be discussing the firing of Gerard Gallant. The fans want Mark Messier. Management doesn't want Quenneville or Sutter. And then I just want to cry. But we're here to talk about it. I, of course, am here with Nick and Nico. C-Jets will be joining us later on in the episode. But for both of you, initial thoughts on the firing.
I mean, it probably had to happen. Well, not probably. I think in most Ranger fans' mind, that was definitely the correct move. And from what we heard in the exit interviews from the players, it doesn't sound like they were too fond of Gerard Gallant. A lot of pausing in between words, and it obviously got heated with Chris Drury. So it's just not. He's not a bad coach. I would not say he's a bad coach. Like he had a successful record, but he's just not going to get you to the promised land. He does not know how to make any sort of adjustments. There's not a clear system. Not a good disciplinarian. So it's the correct move here, but it's definitely unfortunate that the Rangers have to go through this coaching carousel again here.
Yeah, pretty much agree with that. He's not like a bad coach. I think he's a good regular season coach, if anything. Like, he'll get you to the playoffs, but after that, it's like you don't know what to expect from the team, and as we saw, especially this past season, especially in the playoffs, like he didn't really get this team to play to their potential on a nightly basis. So, especially, after we went up 2-0 against Jersey. So, yeah, he's not a bad coach, just obviously not for this team. But if he were to, go to any team that is looking to make the playoffs, I would say, go hire him then. He'll likely get you there, but I don't know if he's going to, get you, to a deep run in the playoffs. But yeah, if you're looking to just, stay competitive, then sure, he's the guy. But that's all I got to say about about him.
Well, maybe he'll get you through a deep run in his first year, but that's really about the extent of it. I think part of why he didn't fit here is because of the fact that the leadership group is soft and he's way too hands off. If they were to hire a player's, like, the difference when they hired AV, who's a player's coach, is those guys just played under John Tortorella, who was a disciplinarian and a hard ass. So they knew what it took to win. And the leadership group was able to handle it on their own. And they didn't really need that type of coach, where with this scenario, it just wasn't going to work at all. And it was the right move. It was definitely the right move. And I don't know where they even go from here. That's a whole different conversation, but it just sucks though too, because we were huge advocates for them to hire Gallant in the first place. We banged the drum on podcasts prior and all of that for them to get Gallant, and now we're here already talking about replacing him, and it just sucks. It really sucks, but this is what happens when you make zero adjustments in a series. This is what happens when your players quit on you, not only once, but twice. They quit on him back in December, and they quit on him yet again in the playoffs. So it was bound to happen. And like you said, the way that the players spoke in the exit interviews, you could just tell that this was going to happen. The way Gallant spoke too, you could tell it was going to happen, considering the fact that he got so defensive, and he was also taking shots at the roster construction after Game 7. Yeah, you had a feeling that this was coming.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I remember it was after Game 7 when he was complaining like, it's good to have all this talent, but when they're like, now forechecking this and that, it's
Not playing with heart, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I thought Chris Drury did a great job to put a team in place. I can go out and win a Stanley Cup, but Gerard Gallant apparently does not agree.
Yeah. And for the people that are saying that Drury needs to go, I just don't understand how the narrative changed, because everyone at the deadline was praising Drury for the work that he did, and now all of a sudden it's fire him. The moves didn't work. Well, part of that goes in hand with the fact that Gallant was horrendous, but that's a different conversation. But if anything, Gordon should be the one getting the blame right now because he's the one that signed some of these brutal contracts for Trouba and Panarin in particular, which Trouba is just a joke of a captain. And then Panarin, we obviously saw what he did this postseason. And to say he was ineffective would be an overstatement because he was beyond piss poor and he doesn't deserve a letter on his jersey next year. But yeah, I don't know where they go. I really don't know where they go. They already ruled out Quinville. They already ruled out Sutter. It's just who is going to be the guy? To me, I feel like it's going to be Knobloch, but that's my prediction.
If I had to make a prediction, I think it's going to be Peter Laviolette, and I don't know how I would feel about that. Like, for Chris Knobloch, he's doing good things in Hartford, but I'm just afraid, like, is Chris Knobloch, like, what the Rangers need at head coach right now? An inexperienced guy who is going to come into this roster who's looking to win now. So I don't know how that would really work, but yeah, like even a guy like Laviolette, it's like, I don't know. So, I mean, it should be really interesting. We'll see, hopefully, like by the next week, who they're going to be interviewing and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to go Laviolette if I had to take a guess.
It's bizarre that we already know more candidates that they're not going to hire versus who they're interviewing. But sorry, Nick, continue with what you were going to say.
Oh, no. I'm going to say it's Knobloch, but I would certainly hope just out of all the candidates that, are available, I guess it would probably be, I would hope it would be Boudreaux. I just would prefer someone experienced behind the bench to guide this team. I don't know how it would work with Knobloch. I don't know if you can really bring in anyone, or a veteran presence in this locker room with Knobloch at the helm because, I don't think anyone's going to really take, anything seriously from what Knobloch may have to say about, players play or, and whatever. So I feel like you definitely need to go the experience route. Boudreaux has coached some pretty successful teams from the Capitals to the Ducks. So I'm going to say, well, like I said, prediction Knobloch, but I'm hoping that it's Bruce Boudreaux, at least for now, until someone else on the market is better for this team.
Yeah, definitely another name to watch too is probably Patrick Waugh, Kevin Weeks.
Yeah,
maybe he knows something we don't.
It was also mentioned in Larry Brooks' article.
Yeah, and Chris Joy has obviously the connection with Waugh, so that could very much happen. I don't think that would be a great move.
No, that would not be a good move.
Could you imagine Patrick Waugh behind the New York Rangers bench?
That'll be brutal.
Oh my God.
And let's get out of the way for all the fans, because I got comments on my videos with people being pissed. Mark Messier is not going to be the head coach. He's not. He is not coached even at the Pee Wee level. He is not coaching the New York Rangers. I'm sorry for anyone that has that fantasy. It's not going to happen. If it does happen, then don't expect it to go well. Don't. Because I don't know how anyone could possibly think that it would be good enough because of what he did as a player. Okay, Wayne Gretzky got behind the bench and look at how that went. Doesn't mean anything. It's not going to happen. It shouldn't happen. But yeah, I think that I really don't even know because I could see them wanting to go the experience route. I think that's the route that they should go and they need to go. But at the same time, I could also see them trying to find a diamond in the rough here with either bringing Knobloch in or plucking an assistant, a different AHL coach. I don't know. I really don't know.
The problem with, having Knobloch is because I don't know if he is going to have his own crew or is he just going to use what's already there in the NHL with Gordon Murphy or Mike Kelly, unless if he decides to leave as well. But I'm not trying to have anyone from Quinn or Gallant.
Unless Jacques Martin comes back.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, except for him. But I'm not trying to have anyone from those days. I'm trying to, have a clean slate aside from Benoit Lair, of course, and, install a new system. Not that we never had one, but you know what I mean? Install a system, game plan in place for every night. And, just just go from there. I would prefer that they would do that, but I don't know what they're talking about behind closed doors, of course.
Yeah, the only positive that you have with Knobloch is that you have a lot of guys that played under him. Obviously, there was a small sample size during the 2021 season where he had to coach a couple games, but you also have the fact that Heedle played under him in Hartford. You're going to have guys like Jones come up, Cooley's going to come up, and you have all these guys that have played under him, and they'll be familiar with the system. So the transition will be easier from the AHL to the NHL. That would be the only good thing. But outside of that, they really need to get someone in here, in my opinion, that has the experience, has the pedigree, where it's going to be all eyes on the coach, and everyone's actually going to take the guy seriously when he walks through the doorstep. It can't just be loose and goose like it is right now. They need some sort of disciplinarian, like we've been beating the drum for the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just scared we're gonna have another David Quinn situation with Knobloch potentially. So I'm not trying to have anything like that. I'm trying to have what pretty much what Evan said. It's just someone with an established coaching resume, and he walks into that locker room, and people will listen. They'll take him very seriously for what he has to say. So I want a coach that is like that. I don't want Chris Knobloch to walk in and everyone's just get a load of this guy. Like, I've been in the league for 10, 15 years, whoever that player may be, and he's barely been here, and he's telling me what how to play a certain way. Like, I don't think players like that are going to take him as seriously as they would with a veteran coach that is not only won, but has had successful seasons with either one team or multiple teams. So
I totally agree with that. With Chris Knobloch, that's my worry. People are not gonna take him seriously in the locker room, like who have been in the league, experienced guys like Trouba, Kreider, Banachek. I would have the fear too that they're not going to take a rookie coach seriously. So I think they definitely need an experienced guy, because if you do go to Knobloch, it's like you're kind of going into a retool. I feel like at that point, I feel like they make some moves that lead into kind of a thing where, all right, maybe we will miss the playoffs for like a year possibly, and then come back strong. Hopefully that isn't the case. I think you're just too all in at this point. You got to just try and win. So, Knobloch to me is not a very favorable candidate.
I mean, at that point, Knobloch would just be a bridge to get to another coach that's
what I was going to say.
That may be on the market a year or two, or possibly 3 years later, depending on who that coach may be, a Mike Sullivan or someone else. But it would definitely be painful to just kind of know, okay, we were probably not going to win the cup, for, a couple of years if we go the Knobloch route, unless if he just becomes a diamond in the rough, John Cooper type situation. But I don't know if he would be that, but we'll never know until he's hired. But just based on from what we've seen, I would just feel like it would just be like, we know that we're not going to win the cup, and we're just hoping for Mike Sullivan a couple of years and to really bring it home for these guys. But I don't know. I feel lost as a fan. Honestly.
I was about to say I feel lost, and the only problem too with Knobloch is that you have to find a way to stay competitive in these next 2 years, because if they take a step back and risk potentially even missing the playoffs or just first round exit after first round exit, you are putting yourself in danger of losing your franchise goalie. It's just that simple. What is going to be the incentive for Igor Shesterkin to stay if this team has Chris Knobloch behind the bench and he's just not good enough? I'm going to be honest with you, no matter who the coach is, we're not going to be able to celebrate. We're not going to be able to celebrate unless Mike Sullivan somehow ends up on the market last minute, which I don't think is going to happen. But by the small 1% chance it does, that's the only way we could celebrate. Other than that, we're not going to be happy with who it is until we see the results on the ice at the very least to prove otherwise. But I'm more concerned about the fact that they're going to piss off their franchise goalie and he's going to leave in 2 years. That's my concern right now.
Yeah, Igor Shesterkin, so he has this upcoming year, and then the year after that's his last year. So, yeah, I forgot the Igor deal was only 4 years, I believe, from the start it was. So,
Yeah, 4.
yeah, I wish it could have been longer, but he's going to be in for a big payday that year, and we can't piss him off, as you said. We have to stay a competitive hockey team and show some support for this guy because the last 2 years he's just been the backbone carrying us, Hank all over again. So, I mean, you have to go out and make moves that will make him happy, and you have no choice. You really don't have a choice. I mean, Kreider's at this point, what, 32, I believe?
31, 32, yeah.
Yeah, one of those. Panarin's in his 30s now. Mika's getting up there. Like, Trouba's getting to the 30s. So, I mean, I know people like to say, like, the Rangers are this young team and all, and, like, they got a lot of time. But, I mean, their quote-unquote big guys are, getting up there. You got to, win in these next 3 years, in my opinion. Next 3-4 years.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I talked to Nick off air about this also. If you promote Chris Knobloch, what is going to be the incentive for free agents to take a discount and come here to play under Chris Knobloch? Versus if you brought in an experienced guy, then maybe they'll look and be like, all right, this team has a chance of going somewhere. But with Chris Knobloch behind the bench, I just don't see them being able to retain Tarasenko or Kane at discount deals. I can't see them prying any free agents over here, even at a discount. The only free agents that they might get are bottom 6 players, maybe a bottom pair defenseman, whatever else they need to fill out the depth. That's really about it. Outside of that, I can't envision them bringing back Kane or Tarasenko, which would obviously be huge losses if they don't bring both or at least one of them back. But it's going to be it's such a tricky situation. I'm so lost right now because I could see them also moving Lafreniere this offseason to get a right winger. I could see them moving Kakko. I could see them moving one of the top end players potentially. One of them waives their no move clause. I have zero clue where this offseason is going to go. All I know is I feel lost as a fan right now. That's all I know.
Yep. A lot of uncertainty with this team, like always. As you said, I mean, this is going to be an interesting offseason for the Rangers. You got like close to $12 million to fill out 8 or 9 roster spots, and we know the buzz going around with Kakko, Lafreniere. One of them could be traded. I think Chris Drury tries to explore trading Panarin. I know it's super unlikely because the salary and the no trade clause or movement clause, and that would be difficult to move. But I think he'll explore it because
you have to.
Yeah, last year he was not happy with him in the playoffs, and he definitely was not happy this year. Probably worse. So. I think you have to definitely try it. And then for Tarasenko and Kane, hopefully you can bring back one of them because, even though we thought we got steals on both deals, like at the end of the day, you did still give up a first, a second. Sammy Blais, who cares about that? But you gave up some valuable picks, so it would be quite tragic for them to lose both of them.
Yeah.
And we'll take a sweetheart deal.
Yeah, and it's just hard to envision that if they bring in Knobloch. And someone commented, what about Babcock? 1, I'm pretty sure he's retired. 2, I just don't think he's the answer. But then again, I'm going to say that no matter what candidate anybody mentions in the chat, if you guys come up with anything else, I'm probably not going to be on board with it, to be honest with you. I'm really not. And Quenneville's not happening. Already confirmed that that's not happening. That ship is already sailed.
I was shocked about that. I really thought.
Yeah,
I thought it was a lock.
I thought so too.
Maybe the league said no or something. That maybe it could be that, but I thought it was a lock because Panarin's best years were under Quenneville, and then you also have the fact that Kane maybe would have stayed. So I was shocked that they ruled out Quenneville right off the rip because we know Dolan doesn't care about the PR that would come with it. We know that. So
yeah, Dolan's gonna have a big say in this team's decision at head coach. Obviously had the big hand definitely in getting Patrick Kane. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what goes down. And I remember, I think, Evan, you mentioned Trotz yesterday of if he didn't take that gig in Nashville. And there we go, yeah. He would have been a perfect guy for the Rangers. So he said he wanted to coach original 16 too, so that really sucks.
Yeah, facts. Shots on the Rangers. Oh my god.
That would be crazy.
I would have booked the parade. I really would have booked the parade.
Yeah, he would have been. That would have been the guy we would have been foaming at the mouth for. That would have been the guy that you give the bag no matter what. Now it's just I don't even know. I really don't. And Larry Brooks confirmed that Quenneville is not going to. He's not even going to be interviewed. So there's that. And then Daryl Sutter also was confirmed earlier that he's not going to be under consideration, which makes sense given the fact that it's a big red flag that players undid their trade request from Calgary the second he got fired. So, and no, this has nothing to do with the NHL hating them. It's just the fact that what Quenneville did was unacceptable, and yeah, they're going to keep him out of the league for long because of it. So, and yeah, this is a fair question. Who would even trade for Panarin at this point in his career?
They see he's a regular season merchant, and when it comes,
but at the
to
same
big
time,
leagues-
I do have a counter argument to that, the regular season merchant thing, because GMs are stupid. We know that GMs are stupid, and a team willingly took Jonathan Huberdeau when it's the same situation last year, where it's a player that put up like 100 points and he did nothing in the playoffs, and they ended up trading him. Panarin is kind of in that similar boat. I'm sure that a GM would be stupid enough to take Panarin. But again, the problem is that anywhere that Panarin could go, he probably wouldn't, because one, it won't be a contender. And two, if it is a contender, it would be a team like the Winnipeg Jets. And why would he want to go to Winnipeg? Yeah. Pierre-Luc Dubois will tell you all about how garbage Winnipeg is.
I don't know if you guys saw, but I saw something like a week ago. I don't know how truthful it was. It probably wasn't true, but could you imagine? It was last year when Tkachuk was on the market. Apparently, the Rangers were like in on him, and they were going to send Panarin the other way because Calgary wanted like a top end player back for Tkachuk. As to why they got Huberdeau, and then obviously, or Panarin was said to have nixed the trade. So I don't know how true it is, but if that was true, and we could have got Matthew Tkachuk for him, that would have been amazing.
I'd imagine that's just all speculation.
It probably is, but I mean, that would be sick if it was the truth.
But yeah, if that is true, oh, Panarin, you asshole.
Matthew Tkachuk, man, he'd be so amazing on the Rangers. He's the exact player they need.
Yeah, that would have been nice to get him when it had been. Mm-hmm. I mean, it would have been easier to orchestrate a trade if Jacob Trouba wasn't on this team too, because you would have had the cap then still to extend Tkachuk, but obviously, but even then, I don't know if they would have taken a trade, even if you gave them all the prospects in the world. But in hindsight, there's a lot that this team should have done. In hindsight, they should have drove Niels Lundqvist to the airport to get Jack Eichel. In hindsight, too, they could have kept Niels Lundqvist after all, because Gallant's out of town now. So
true.
Yeah. I wish they paid up for Jack Eichel. It's times like this where you wish for that. I mean, maybe they did, and Buffalo, I mean, we knew Buffalo was adamant that they really didn't want to send him here, but I don't know.
Which I still don't get why.
I know.
How about could have kept Kravtsov too now?
There was issues, though, with Drury, too, with Kravtsov, so that probably wouldn't have mattered.
Even the return for Kravtsov, like, I thought they were going to get, like, a mid-round pick. Like, they got a 7th in William Lockwood. I don't know how, like, good William Lockwood is. Is he doing good in Harvard?
The game I watched, he threw a pretty brutal hit that got someone taken off on the stretcher, but
wow.
Outside of that, yeah, he was all right in that game, but I knew they weren't going to get much for Kravtsov because they had no leverage in the deal because you wanted to get Patrick Kane on the team. Those were the gymnastics you had to do to get him. So I didn't really expect them to get much for him either way. Mm-hmm. I was shocked they wasn't part of the Kane trade, though. That's still what shocks me.
Really good thing Zach Jones didn't go the other way in that trade. Now that you think about it, that would have really sucked.
Where did the Islanders get with that Clutterbuck, Cizikas, Martin line? First of all. Second, you're not trading Filipino who you just extended to bring Max Domi or Nick Bukestad in. Sorry, that's not happening.
Rangers fans
Absolutely
have
not.
a thing for Nick Bukestad, man. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Everyone was wanting him over Kane at the deadline. I mean, jeez.
They didn't do this, though. They didn't have a choice but to draft Kako. He fell to them at 2.
I mean,
It was the Rangers were done a favor, if anything. It was just take one of the 2 that were left on the board, and they took the consensus number 2 pick, and
Yeah, you could have messed
that's
it
what we
up.
got. Yeah.
It was pretty easy.
And even if anyone doesn't like Kako and disagrees, at the time, that was the pick that made the most sense, and that was the consensus pick.
Yep. I'm scared for if they trade Kako and Lafreniere, what this package looks like. Like, whoa. Like, what would you guys want, like, in return? You need, like... They would want a player back, surely. But I don't even know.
Who'd you say? Sorry, I was just getting distracted by chat for
Kako or Lafreniere, like, say they were to trade one.
I don't even know what a package looks like for that. Like,
so unpredictable.
I can't. Like, I don't know if they have to give up extra assets or if the other team would give up bigger assets to get one of these guys. I have no clue what their value is, but all I know is that I think it was to you, Nico, off air about this. If Lafreniere this offseason doesn't start taking his off-ice training seriously this summer, then just let it go. Just trade him, and then he might start actually realizing maybe it will be a wake-up call for him that he needs to actually put in the work off the ice to get going, and it's not just going to be gifted to him just because he was a number 1 overall pick, which it might backfire on them, and Lafreniere might end up becoming the player that we expect, or at least close to it. But all I know is that if he's not going to take the offseason seriously, then you might as well just trade him because it's never going to work here.
Yeah, I remember Valaket even said it. Like, he was like, Lafreniere, you got to put the golf clubs away in the offseason and get in the gym and, work on your game, because I'm worried about that too. Like, he doesn't take this thing too seriously. And if he's not putting in the work this summer, you just got to let it go.
Yeah, it's a matter of how bad he wants it. And we saw what happened when Mika Zibanejad put in the work for one offseason.
Yeah.
Was almost a 40-goal scorer the next season. So need to put the work in and realize that not everything's gifted just because you're a top pick. See, this is what I was saying. Move Kako up to the second line and build a checking line that could score and also play against the team's best line. That's what I want them to do next year. I envision them, and this is what I think they should do, but what do I know? They probably won't do it. I think that Lafreniere, Kako, and Hedl all should be in the top 6 next year. You move Trocheck down the third line and make a matchup line for the third line. That's what I think they should do, but again, what do I know?
I mean, the set forwards for this team next year, like, how many do they have out of the 12? Like, under contract wise?
I believe 9.
Yeah, but it's like, does Goodrow get moved?
Maybe even less.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I mean, you got to trade Goodrow. That's one thing for certain, to have more cap space to work with. He's not a bad player, definitely a solid player, but 3.6 on that fourth line is not going to cut it.
Yeah, it's 8 that they have under contract in the forward group, by the way.
That's it. Yeah, so they got work to do. Chris Drury is going to be in the lab. I trust him to make the right moves. So we'll see. I mean, I wonder what Goodrow, like, do you think you have to, you definitely got to add, like, a pick with it, with Goodrow? Definitely can't retain salary. But I don't know, though.
I'm not too sure what. There are GMs that I feel like that value Barclay Goodrow.
Yeah, and not even require, like, a pick with it. We know Drury, he's good with these trades. Like, Niels Lundqvist, who the hell expect them to get a first for him, So I trust he's gonna do good work.
Yeah, they could have drafted a lot of players over Elias Sanderson. Or they could trade up to actually get Pedersen or McCarr like they actually wanted to, but and no NYR for life, no, you wouldn't have. No GM would have. Anyone that had that first overall pick was drafting Lafreniere. There is not one GM that was going to draft Tim Stützle first overall.
Yep. I mean, we
Easy
live
to say now, but in the moment, it was obviously Lafreniere. So I don't know.
He was the consensus pick for like 2 years since he was like 15 years old.
It's like saying like you're gonna draft like Kirby Doc or Vasily Podkolzin first overall in that 2019 draft, over Hughes and Kakko. You know what I mean? So
it's like, and the Rangers, like, they had Panarin and Kreider on that left side already. It's not like Lafreniere was like this great fit, but he was that good that the Rangers, who it was supposed to be that good, to the point where they couldn't pass it up.
yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. And yeah, for all the people that keep saying that Kane was garbage, just I'll throw that comment up. But again, his fault only for the series. How could I mistake it?
The one scapegoat everyone just picks on.
Yeah, I know that it's crazy to think the idea 5.6 for a third line center, but that's the role that Trocheck would thrive in best. That's where I think he would thrive best. And I know Panarin doesn't like playing with Hedl, Kakko, or Lafreniere. Suck it the fuck up.
Yeah, those rumors are definitely true.
Yeah.
Panarin just always has to get his way.
Yeah, like Carmelo Anthony. It's like the way or the highway. Yeah, that's another thing. Like if you're gonna have a guy like that, like kind of controlling like who he plays with, like take him out. Like get him out of here.
Panarin trade
just figure it out.
They've catered so much to Panarin. And
Like,
it started with it started when they signed him to the contract that they started catering to him. And then it was the Tom Wilson incident, and it just keeps going.
Ryan Strome honestly probably overstayed his visit because of him. So, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that they were going to cater him to him more and bring back Strome, which would have been a nightmare.
Yeah, 100%.
We could do calls. We could definitely do calls. I'll throw the link in chat for some callers.
I really just don't know. This is going to be a weird offseason. Never normal with this team.
Have no hope for next season.
Yeah, right. As of right now, my expectations are on the floor for next season. I really thought this was the year. I truly did think it. Like, all the way, dating back to August of 2022, like, I was like, dude, this Rangers team's win the cup. And then when they got Tarasenko and Kane, just solidified that. Oh,
yeah, we really, they definitely
clowns.
fooled us. They definitely
clowns,
fooled
man.
us with the preseason predictions.
Oh, God.
But, it's so annoying. Igor masked so many of the issues, and I think he's going to do it again and lead this team to a wild card spot at least next year. I really do.
There's no way this team is beating out the Hurricanes or Jersey in the standings. Besides that, I would hope they could get third again.
I think Jersey falls like not completely off, but like I think they're not as.
I mean, Lindy Ruff's not going to be their coach next year. They're going to give it to Brunette because doesn't the contract expire?
They're gonna bring Ruff back after this year. I think they're going to.
Brunette,
That's another guy that I think that the Rangers interview is Andrew Brunette.
Yeah, we forgot about him.
We got a caller. We got Steven calling in. What's going on? How are you doing today?
Guys, I'm just beside myself. How you guys doing?
I'm feeling just like you right now.
And that's putting it lightly. I am just, I'll say with Gallant starting off, that he needed to go at some point, yes, but at the same time, I don't feel like he was all to blame. There was a guy that made a comment on some other video that I was watching saying, I think it was Big Apple Hockey. I don't know if you guys follow them.
Yeah.
And the guy commented and said, Devin, I don't care who you're playing. I don't care who the coach is, you should, et cetera, et cetera. And both those guys disagreed. And I'm like, what? Both those guys were so, because, I don't know if you guys play. I'm sure you guys do. If we were all on the same team and we hated our coach, do you think, we don't like the coach, so we're not going to play? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I just stop using Gallant as a scapegoat. He's not a big X's and O's guy, and we're going to need that in the future. But I only watched the highlight, and I started working from like a 2 to 10 shift, so thank God I didn't get to watch Game 7. I was just basically watching through Twitter comments and everything, and I'm like, checking every half an hour, and I go, how are you not showing up for Game 7? That is so telling to the DNA of this team, far beyond any coach. I don't care I don't care if it's Knobloch, XYZ. It doesn't make a difference. They when they want to play. And if you don't recognize that, you don't know this team. Yeah, you can have a bad 20 minutes. Yeah, you can have a bad half of a game. I just don't know how you don't show up for Game 7. That was a heartbreaker. Those games go either way. Once overtime starts, the puck can. It's a matter of puck luck, depending on the games 4 and 5. Thank God I've forgotten most of it, but that Game 7 was inexcusable. I barely even watched the highlights. I feel like I have PTSD just from watching Twitter. It was so bad, but going forward, and I've been making comments over the last 2 days. I really don't care who the coach is next. Really don't think it matters. I think it's better. I think the smartest thing would be to promote Knobloch for the time being, just as a placeholder, and find out who your coach might be later on. Because really, who's available? The only guy that I would pick, and I'm not even sure if he's available, is Mike Sullivan.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the only guy that I would be like, you know what? He's an X's and O's guy. He'll ream them during intermission, and because apparently you have to psych them up. Zibanejad needs to be psyched up, and these $1 million players need to be psyched up. I just that is so. How do you not do that on your own? As an individual, as a team, with all this leadership, how do you not do it on your own? I just don't understand. Coaches are important, yeah, but I've been talking to guys that say coaches aren't that important. Not saying they're not important, but if you don't have the right core to motivate themselves, motivate each other as this unit, I just don't understand.
I'm in agreement with you. I just want to make sure, though, you think that Gallant deserves some of the blame, though, at the very least, right?
Absolutely. Just
okay.
The lack of X's and O's thing. Yeah, please don't get me wrong. At all. He doesn't make adjustments, this and that. Absolutely. But at the same time, they're hockey players. They know how to play hockey. And if something's not okay, so we're watching the games, right? We see Zibanejad put his glove up to his face. He goes over and talks to Kreider. He mumbles something. Trocheck does. Go to the middle of the ice. Put the puck on the net. You don't need a coach to tell you that. I just, oh God.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And thank you for the call, Steven. But I completely agree that a lot of this falls on the core as well. It's not just a coaching problem. I've been saying that for a while now, that I have serious questions with the core going forward. I think that they're really soft, and the fact that they need this much of a hard ass to get them going is definitely a problem. It really is.
I think you mentioned it. I think on your video yesterday with Gallant, you were like, "This is the last chance." We've gone through a couple of coaching changes already, and if this coach doesn't work, it's on the core, man. I mean, it already is. Like, I think people that only blame Gallant are ridiculous. Obviously, he does deserve blame, and he got fired. But again, at the end of the day, they're the ones going out playing the game, and they're not playing it good enough. So we're gonna need to see a lot better.
Yeah, this core is just, it's got way too many flaws. It really does. And I'm just so aggravated that we're at this point. I really am, because I have no clue how to feel about this team. It looked so promising with the rebuild. It looked so promising when they signed Panarin and everything. It just looked like the future was bright. And now we're here where I just feel lost. And I just don't know what we're going to get from this team going forward. It's so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
See if we have anything in chat to address. And yeah, it is the last chance with the core. It's definitely the last chance.
I mean, doesn't Trouba, well, after what year is it where he becomes available to trade?
I think 2 years.
Year after next.
Okay. Not too far away, at least.
No. Start gearing up for Matthews, baby. Oh, God.
Oh, great. We're going to bring in another superstar to disappear in the playoffs, aren't we? Because that would be what would happen here at the very least. He would disappear for us.
No doubt.
God, it's so annoying. If we fall short of expectations next season, even with the new coach, change up the core. If they aren't already, trade one of them to send a message. Agree, but again, thanks to Jeff Gordon and crew, they have all these guys under no movement clauses, so gonna be hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be hard to do.
And I love how he takes like credit. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, they made the conference final, or like, oh yeah, they're playing Jersey this week. You know, this was before the playoffs. And he's just like, yeah, you know, I did this, I did that. Like he was acting as if like he just created some like I don't even like godlike team, and in reality it's not like that. And not only that, he, like you said, Evan, he put everyone under no move clauses. It's just a shit show. It really is. And I love how he just acts like, you know, he built some like dynasty, but in reality it's not even that.
Not even close.
It really screwed us over.
Yeah. Again, I said it earlier. I'll continue to say it. Igor has messed a lot of the issues here. He really has. The 5v5 offense, the piss poor play in the defensive zone, all of it. All of it's been masked by Igor. And sadly, it might take Igor walking for them to figure that one out. So
Yeah.
that's the problem that we're dealing with here.
Suck. Oh, my God.
Hopefully Grant would be the real deal.
I really wonder what they do at backup now that we said. I thought it was honestly a lock to be Domingue, but it doesn't seem like they want that.
No, they'll give Yarhawk another no move clause for the next 3 years.
Yeah, they would be the.
They're going to
team
sign to the
do that.
Patrick Nemeth deal. Modified no move clause. $2.5 million the next 3 years. He'll get the Patrick Nemeth deal.
That was so bad. Oh God, that was Chris Sherry's worst move in office. Or the Buchnevich. Nah, definitely the Buchnevich trade. I can't forget about that.
Yeah.
But nah, he's been good. I'm not gonna rag on Drury.
But at the same time, again, all those moves that happened that offseason were in correlation to the fact that the Tom Wilson incident happened, and it was probably Dolan driven, most of those moves. So, and Sather.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you can't forget the man behind it all, Glenn Sather.
Yeah.
True that.
Also, I don't have my headphones. That's why I keep muting. I don't want y'all to hear the echo that happens when y'all talk.
Fair enough.
So,
Although I don't hear an echo. I at least don't think.
How about now? Go ahead and say something, see if it echoes.
Fuck Gerard Gallant. Yeah, I don't hear an echo. I don't hear an echo personally.
All right, if it gets bad, just tell me, and I'll just remute up. I just didn't want y'all to have to hear what you said twice.
How did Jeff Gordon, how did Trouba land 8 mil? Well, because I was answering it also while I was reading it. But yeah, Jeff Gordon bet against himself. That's why.
like,
He
why
did
would
it
you give
against
that-
himself.
Why
He
would you
asked
give
for a
that
trade to New York. Nope. Here's 8 million. Because another team's gonna offer shoot you. I'm scared.
Oh my God. Didn't even see a game of the dude and just chucked 8 mil right at him.
Did y'all see?
150 season.
I think it was Marek or Friedman. One of them was talking about Dubois again. It's like,
Cool.
Jesus Christ.
We know where he's going already.
He wants to be in Montreal only.
I don't even know why it's even a discussion at this point. It's quite clear where he wants to go.
Yeah. It's Montreal or nowhere.
He'll just retire.
New York or nowhere, like Patrick Kane. Montreal or nowhere for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah.
Really does suck that it seems like, I can't believe I'm going to say this because I'm one of his biggest naysayers, but it looks like Barclay Goodrow is going to be the guy that gets shipped off for money reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
I like Barclay Goodrow, but not for $3.6 million.
Yeah, I just don't understand how he made that much money. How do you pay almost $4 million for a guy that I don't think maybe one time in his career had 30 points?
Exactly. And you're bringing back Tyler Modis from what it seems like, so like that just makes it more reason.
Oh, no,
didn't
we'll
have
trade for him again next year.
Yeah, they'll do that. They didn't have enough cap though for Buchnevich, but Barclay Goodrow 3.6 and Patrick
That was-
Nemeth
that was
2.5, but
good.
we don't have enough cap.
What did Booch make with St. Louis on his extension?
He's only making like 5.6 or something.
On a 4-year
Unreal.
deal, too. I think it was 4 years, right?
It's all right, though. We couldn't afford him.
No.
But we were pushing for Jack Eichel, who's
Yeah.
$10 million.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
I remember when people were throwing Buchnevich and Jack Eichel packages too.
Oh yeah, that was a summer right there with Jack Eichel.
It was a fun summer, though, man. Like, a team on the up and up, you think you're going to get, like, a superstar center, and then absolutely nothing happens except for Patrick Nemeth and Ryan Reeves. You know what's actually funny? Before the Ryan Reeves trade, it happened on my birthday. I tweeted, "Can y'all make a trade for my birthday?" And then, like, an hour later, they traded for Ryan Reeves.
That was the best Base Shesty moment. He tweeted yesterday, "I'm going to intervene with the Rangers
And then
offseason.
Gallant
Stay tuned." And then 5 hours later, Gallant gets fired.
Yeah, he must have done some good damage control.
I'm really intrigued with the No Quinville news. I hope they go after a new age head coach. Brunette's the dream, and Toronto, Seattle, Tampa Bay Lightning assistant coaches. I don't know if an assistant coach is the answer at all. I don't think Brunette's the answer either. But yet again, I'm saying that about everyone. So
Yeah, there's not a lot of answers.
just hire whoever the fuck you want, and I'll just suck it up. Because either way, I'm going to be watching 82 games next year, plus potentially playoffs. So just hire whoever the fuck you want. I'll watch the games. I'll hope I'm happy. And more than likely I'll be throwing things by the end of the year yet again. And we'll have a good day. We'll enjoy it. I'll get my views on them losing in the first round again. It will be nice. It'll be great. Everyone will hear me rant. I'll get like 3K views. Somehow more views on the Braves sweeping the Mets than the Rangers getting eliminated from the playoffs, by the way. That makes sense, even though I'm more of a hockey channel. But yeah, we'll be fine. I'll be perfectly fine. I'm perfectly okay. I totally don't want to get in a tattoo removal shop. I definitely don't.
All right, I gotta get going, guys. Good
All
seeing
right.
you, Jets. See you later, Nico.
Later.
Looking very cute today.
Thank you.
Evan, you need some work.
What?
Wow.
Violated me before he left. Wow.
Right before he leaves.
It's just a ricochet.
Wow.
I
Damn.
probably got like 10, 15 minutes in me. I made a promise that we go in the pool tonight for a night swim. It's like 80 degrees in Charlotte right now, so.
Wow.
Oh, imagine 80-degree day in Winnipeg.
Oh my god, dude! You think the world is ending? I love how we always get on like just ripping Winnipeg. Dude, there's gonna be like an article about us, and like I don't even know if it exists, but like the Winnipeg Times. three
Winnipeg
trashy
Times.
Northerners or three trashy Americans make fun of Winnipeg.
Hopefully people from Winnipeg don't watch this, man. We just
Right.
take them down every episode.
Always getting brought up. I mean, I feel bad, but come on, let's call a spade a spade. It's the damn truth. Come on.
Sometimes you got to be honest.
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
An 80-degree day in Winnipeg. Oh my god, the world! It's on fire! Global warming!
They wouldn't know what to do with themselves. They
They
wouldn't.
really wouldn't, man.
Like, dude, if it's like 45 Fahrenheit, they're opening the pools Everyone's got their bathing suits on, suntan lotion, getting outside.
Oh, that's great.
Dubois is just suck starting his shotgun. Fucking can't wait to leave.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
The pools go crazy on a nice 45-degree day in Winnipeg.
Oh, unreal. Imagine that.
That's freaking wild. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Dubois' contract, he became a UFA this year, but I guess it's his last year of RFA this year.
This dude's always an RFA, it feels like.
Yeah.
He's just never going to be a UFA.
Well, and you know what, too? I wonder if his vision of going to Montreal existed when he was in Columbus, and they just opted to not trade him there, or it just didn't work out. Because I feel like if you're like pushing that hard to get on one team, you kind of want to be blatantly obvious with it. That way you don't get traded everywhere but that team. He's a good player. He takes a lot of penalties, but he plays hard.
He blatantly didn't even try for Columbus at the end. I will never forget the videos of just watching him just glide into the offensive zone.
Wanted nothing to do with that place. I mean, it's...
Dude, had Sean Tortorella as his coach, too. That's unreal.
And no, Rob, get it right. Frank the Tank said that they're adding 8 more games next season, so 90 games next year. According to Frank the Tank.
Are they adding regular season games? Are they shorting the preseason and making the regular season longer next year, or is that
probably not? Because let's just waste our time with 7 preseason games.
I never understood that. I seriously, I don't understand. Like if you don't have your roster figured out after 4 preseason games, there's other issues going on that roster. You're a professional sports team. I mean, come on, you don't need.
This isn't baseball where you need to ramp up.
30 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most annoying, spring training being that long. But at the same time, it's understandable because these guys have to ramp up and everything.
Yeah.
Hockey, it's just not the same.
It's not. It really is not. That would be kind of cool, though, like if they took away 3 of the preseason games and added 2 regular season games. But I don't know. I feel like 82 is... I think you could get rid of 3 preseason games and still be all right with 82 regular season games.
Yeah.
That would be the smart thing to do. That's your issue. You're thinking of smart things to do. This is the NHL we're talking about.
That was my mistake. You're right. Forgot this is the NHL. I thought we were talking about an actual sports league. I overstepped.
Yeah. Not the funfair that is the NFL. No, we're not talking about the NFL. We're not talking about fun leagues. We're talking about the league where the funniest thing is Joel Quenneville grabbing his nuts and talking about the puck going over the glass.
Oh, man.
That was a little surprising. Not that I was fully on board the Quenneville train, but it was pretty surprising that they weren't even considering him as an option, because I think it was almost consensus amongst at least everyone on Twitter that he was like candidate number 1. But that caller earlier made a very good point, and just having Knobloch take over as a coach and just seeing what happens, because at the very least you wait for another option to become available.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier, how like it's a win-lose situation, because best case is, okay, he's the next Sean Cooper and let's go, we have our guy. But at the same time, you're gambling on the fact that you're taking a step back and you're going to miss the playoffs potentially. And then you're going to have to try to find a coach that's willing to come here after having rough seasons potentially. Plus, taking a step back lessens your chance of Igor Shesterkin staying here. So you're kind of in a pickle. They are not in a good spot at all. They're just not.
Actually in a pretty bad spot, all things considered.
Yeah. Just when we thought everything was fine. It's definitely not. I thought I was going to feel better a week removed from this elimination. I somehow feel worse.
Well, it's because, I mean, remember we were talking about it. I think it was actually us 3 when we had that really late one. We were talking about, like, we have to enjoy the moment now because this offseason is really going to suck. And, I mean, we're just living in the shitty part of the offseason now because we know the roster is going to be worse on paper, at least. On paper, worse going into next season. Plus now with the new coach, so there's your question mark right there. You wonder what they do with the rest of the coaching staff. Obviously, Benoit Allaire is untouchable. But you wonder about the other coaches. Are they going to keep Gallant's staff, Mike Kelly, and I forgot the other dude's name? Or are they going to replace them too? And then like, are they just going to fully press the reset button? And then even then, is that going to be enough? you see a coach like Rod Brindamore, and it's nothing against the Carolina Hurricanes, but they're playing better without their top guys. They're playing better with these fill-in guys that a coach like Rod Brindamore somehow finds a way to put together a system. And just I don't know. I don't know how the hell that guy does it. He really has a team that is not very good on paper right now with Teravainen, Svechnikov, and Pacioretty out, and has them obviously not today, but the first 2 games of the series, like absolutely lighting it up in the playoffs. I don't know how the hell he does it.
It's a problem like that goes back to the caller too, where it's just like I don't trust this core to buy into whatever system a new coach is gonna bring here. I don't trust this core at all. They are soft, whiny cowards. That's what they are at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't trust it. I really don't trust at all. Like, this isn't an Islanders situation where they hire Barry Trotz, but they have character guys who are willing to buy into the system and let's go. We're going to back-to-back conference finals. This isn't the Canes where it's an underwhelming roster too. Like, no, you have stars here. And the problem is when you have stars like this, they could get away with not buying into the system.
Right.
And they're too comfortable too, because 1, no one's holding them accountable. 2, they're catering the guys like Panarin. 3, they have no movement clauses.
Yeah, so you can't.
So it's not like you can't even, you can't move them if they are playing bad. It's not like, oh, you're playing bad. All right, we're shipping you out of town.
It's very, very true.
There's no incentive for these guys to give a rat's ass, quite frankly.
Nope, not at all. I totally agree. Big
Superstars
egos in
aren't
there. Big egos.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it. It's got to be some sort of ego thing. We talked about like the top 3 lines we had going into the playoffs, and it didn't really seem like any of those 3 lines was even close to effective for any stretch of time. Actually, kind of sad.
Yeah, I'll say this though. I think like a guy like Chris Kreider, he really does want it. Like again, like he performed in the playoffs again. He wants to win a Stanley Cup with the New York Rangers. End of story. Like I can't see this dude leaving this team and not having a Stanley Cup under the belt. But I mean, we're getting late here. He's got 4 or 3 years left on the contract. I believe 4. So. I mean, come on, man.
But they'll probably trade him once it's modified. Because why have character guys?
That's the
no
one
system in New York.
Man, like that bothers the life. I mean, like sometimes it really only takes one player, like just like a shit stirrer, that just can get a team motivated, kind of carry them into battle. Like, I was not a very big fan of Ryan Reeves, but you got to admit, like when he was playing to his role and he was effective, the team kind of rallied around him. And like years past, like the Rangers' 4th lines of Dominic Moore, Brian Boyle, and Carcillo and Dorsett, whoever was on that rotation. Even the Tortorella years when it was it Prust, Boyle, and one year was Rupp and some other guys. Like throwing out a 4th line that just gets everyone going, or you just got guys that are in the mix. Like, dude, like say what you want, but I think a guy like Frank Vatrano helped a lot last year because he, like, even when he wasn't scoring, after every single whistle in the offensive zone, he was in somebody's face. He was stirring the pot. He was jabbing at the goal. He was starting shit with a defenseman. Like he kept the team on their toes, and just you kind of need guys.
I think that's a guy they explore bringing back this offseason.
Yeah, especially if you can make the money work. What about fucking like, and maybe this is a dumb idea, but like if you re-sign Tyler Mott, what about having 2 rotating 13th forwards? Those 13th forwards being Jimmy Vesey and my personal favorite, who I wanted to bring back for the past 3 years, Derek Brassard.
That would be nice too. I'd love Derek Brassard back on this team.
Even as a 13th forward, just to have like a guy that works his absolute. I mean, dude, he scored a hattie against us, right? Like he still has some level of skill. He's not going to be the 60-point player he was with us, but at the very least, he's going to play his bag off. And if he's not playing every single night, that's even more of a motivator for him, because when he's in the lineup, he's going to be playing even harder, so he doesn't get pulled out of the lineup.
That's a great point. Yeah,
but Frank Vatrano, I mean, he didn't even make that much money with Anaheim. I think he's like
he's making the same amount as Gaudreau.
Yeah,
there you go. I really was shocked they didn't bring him back, to be honest with you.
I mean, I understand why, but
yeah,
in hindsight, they probably should have just moved Gaudreau and just brought Vatrano back.
Yeah, and I'm not saying the whole season, hindered on Frank Vatrano, but I'm saying even a player like Frank Vatrano.
Yeah.
Just a guy that just seriously, he just every single shift, he played so freaking hard. Do you remember the first game for trying to play with us? He scored a goal, right? I think it was his first shift.
Yeah.
Was it?
I know he scored in his first game. I don't
At
remember
MSG.
if it was
It might
his
have been
first
first
shift.
game at MSG.
Maybe it was that. But I just remember he was just playing.
No, his first game was at MSG. I think it was against the Islanders, actually.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, so there you go. And the dude was just all over the freaking ice. Like, we got him basically for pennies for free because Florida was in their little cap jam when they were trying to fit in Giroux. And he ended up being, it's hard to say this because I know Andrew Kopp put up the numbers, but probably our most effective trade deadline acquisition last year.
Oh, 100%. Because if you add the playoffs to that, he was the most consistent of the deadline acquisitions in the playoffs because we saw what happened with Kopp after that Pittsburgh series. He was a ghost. But in correlation with that, Artemi Panarin wasn't effective.
Yes.
Do you see the correlation there that he was a product of Panarin?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think that was a given. But like, then
no,
you have
but there's some
like
people that still refuse to believe that for whatever reason.
I don't. If that's not obvious, especially after what Kopp did this year, they're out of their mind. But you have a guy like Vincent Trocheck, and who actually had a really solid season. But I feel like Trocheck's almost playing a bit out of his comfort zone, and that you put him on a line with Artemi Panarin, and you get Panarin, a guy that likes to slow the game down, make a move, make a pass. He kind of plays slowly, tries to set the pace slow. And Vincent Trocheck, when he's at his most effective, he's driving offense. He's skating with the puck flying. He's mucking in the corners, in and out of the zone, yada, yada, whatever. Whereas Panarin, I think this is wild to say, but I think Panarin slowed down Trocheck as much as Trocheck slowed down Panarin, and I don't think they're a very good match because I don't think they have similar playing styles at all.
I totally agree with that.
And this is why I was saying earlier they have to move Hedl to the line with Panarin. I don't care if he doesn't like playing with Hedl, Cock, or Lafreniere. Again, suck it the fuck up. Shut up. You're making your money. Just shut up and go out there and play with who we tell you to. Just shut up and suck it up because it's better for the team. Exactly. And I just don't understand. Go out there and suck it up, and they need to find their Jesper Foss for that line too if they can. They need to.
And like how we talked about with like Artemi Panarin, like how we just give him what he wants and we cater to him. Also, we brought in Tarasenko and Kane, two of his biggest buddies. So like I was happy about the moves. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think they're going to be back next year.
Really?
Yes, because I think they have to show balls and they have to stop catering to Artemi Panarin.
Yeah.
I think they have to.
I agree, but I think if the cap crunch is as serious as we think it's going to be, I would not be surprised if they brought back, and just listen, Patrick Kane on a very cheap deal, because if he has offseason hip surgery and you have him on a 1-year deal, you literally just LTIR him and you bring him back when he's healthy, and you could do a little bit of cap circumvention that way. So I think bringing back Kane, if they do so, would kind of be a cap move more than anything else. I don't think we could afford Tarasenko, and I don't think he could take a big enough discount to make it work. We have less than $12 million to re-sign Laffy, re-sign Miller, re-sign Mott, and I think fill 3 roster spots, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how it's going to happen. And I just, because I wanted to comment on this earlier, I do think Louis Domingue is going to be the backup next year for better or worse.
Really?
Solely because of, I mean, what's his cap at? $750,000?
Yeah, something like that.
I think you're going to see a season with Igor Shesterkin similar to what we saw with Henrik Lundqvist, and I want to say it was 2010, 2011, where the dude played like, I think 70 games. I think we'll end up seeing a season like that, unless Domingue plays well. I mean, who knows? But I think we're going to end up seeing that just because of the cap crunch that we're in. I mean, we are seriously in as bad a shape cap-wise as any other team in the league, I think.
Yeah, and everyone's saying bring back Foss this summer too. I don't see how they work it with the cap either. That's a guy that's going to get overpaid this offseason probably.
So
he'll be effective for a team, but he's going to get overpaid. I think that's fairly obvious.
Yeah.
Unless he really likes it in Carolina. Maybe he stays there. I don't see why he wouldn't stay there too.
He's a former Ranger. He's going to Tampa. It's a foregone conclusion.
Oh, that's a fair point. He would be annoying on Tampa too. He would. Fuck! I hate that you say that. I hate that you said that.
Yeah, but now that I said it, can't you see it?
Yes, I absolutely can see it.
No doubt.
I think they should pluck a guy from Tampa and Corey Perry this offseason, but
it wouldn't be a bad idea if they can make it work.
Yeah, I was thinking
because that's a guy that will go out there and work his ass off every shift and get this team riled up.
He'll just be doing something. At least every time you know he's out there, he's gonna be trying something. I'm actually really hopeful, and I was on the boat that believed that Brennan Ottman should have some time in minors to marinate a little bit.
Yep.
But if Othman can come up and really just be a mother effer to play against and almost fit like that Ryan Callahan mold that I kind of see in him a little bit, then I would not be upset with Brennan Othman making the roster out of camp and playing in a top 9 role. I just don't want it to be one of those put him in the top 9, but he still only somehow manages to play 7 minutes a game, because I think you're hurting a player more than that, allowing them to contribute. And I think if he can play a Callahan type game, that we would finally, for the first time ever, have a rookie skater come in out of nowhere like every other team has and be effective right off the rip. Because I cannot remember the last time the Rangers had a player, a rookie, come up and just be dominant right away. I can't ever remember it.
They
Definitely
have
not in
no
our lifetime.
homegrown talent at all.
Nope.
Pittsburgh manages it every year, whether it was Connor Sheary or fucking Jake Gensel the year after, then Matt Murray in the mix. Like, every team, even the freaking Tampa Bay Lightning, they turned a guy like Ross Colton, who on any other team is a mid prospect, and I think he was a 20-goal scorer this year, or even like Matthew Joseph, again a mid prospect on their team, and now he's like a 30-40 point guy with Ottawa. Like, I don't understand. Like, what are we doing wrong with? Well, actually, that's just a dumb question. I know how bad Rangers are at developing players. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, we know the answer to that, sadly, but no, Jay. No, that would not just go away. That would not just go away. Ryan Reeves was still fine when he was here with that role. It doesn't just go away. The only question that you have with Perry is with his age, but at the same time, I don't really have too many questions. He put up 5 points in the 6 games of the playoffs this year against the Leafs.
I agree.
Yeah,
that's more than Panarin put up.
Yeah. Dude, what about and this is
I would love Jordan Staal, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, but I would love Jordan Staal. Not going to happen, unfortunately.
I was thinking, what if you, because they're in a bit of a cap crunch right now, unless they're going to be for the next few years, what if you somehow got Minnesota on the phone and convinced them to, pried one of Ryan Hartman or Marcus Foligno away?
I'd love that.
I mean, there's a guy. Those are 2 guys right there that are just mother effers to play against, and both had down years compared to what they had the year before.
No, we need Zuccarello back.
Suk is a free agent after the air trade deadline acquisition.
I will say though, I have zero clue if they're going to go in the direction of building a team that is going to be more physical, grit and grind and everything.
I think so.
Or if they're going to look at how they just lost to New Jersey and say, hey, we need skaters, we need speed, we need to get smaller.
I think you're going to see a combination.
It's a tricky situation.
I think you're going to see a combination of both, because you got, like, even with the Braden Schneider pick, which was before the Drury took over, it was pretty clear they were going for guys that play very physical, play very hard, and also could skate very well.
You know what they got to do at the deadline next year? I don't know if you were the one that tweeted this, Nick.
He's already looking at the deadline.
Tom Wilson. Was that you?
You know it.
Tom Wilson.
Come on, man.
I doubt they would do it, but man.
But you know,
hey, you never know.
God, I know people have their opinions on Tom Wilson. Say what you want, how much you hate him. You're telling me right now, you would not want that guy on your team? And you'd be out of your bird to say otherwise. I'm sorry.
You're stupid if you say otherwise. I'm sorry if anyone in chat disagrees, but no.
Dude, you would want to see like obvious. Fucking Trocheck, Wilson, and you could put whoever the hell you want, just absolutely mucky. Like, you talk about having an energy line. You
put me
Wilson,
on that line. I'll throw some fucking hits.
Oh, dude, let's just play pretend. Let's say we get a Ryan Hartman or Marcus Foligno, and
that would be disgusting.
The pipe dream. But imagine Foligno, Trocheck, Wilson.
Oh my God.
I'm looking at this comment in chat right now. It's funny. Get Tom Wilson to bully Panarin and he'll want to leave.
Oh my God. All right, gents, that'll be it for me. I gotta go downstairs for my girlfriend beats the shit out of me. Or she Tom Wilson's me.
Fair enough. Man. Have a good night, C-Jets.
Y'all holler whenever you're ready to stream again. You know I'm always down.
For sure, for sure.
Take care, guys.
Later.
That would be a fucking... Oh, I wish.
Oh, God.
That's so funny. Get Tom Wilson, the bully Panarin, and I want to leave.
That's the comment of the live right there.
Oh my god. That's too funny. Ah,
That would be something. Trocheck, Wilson, and Othman. That would be an interesting line.
that would be terrible. It's just like that's where I think Lafreniere's gone because it's like I feel like they're gonna want to build their top six to have those smaller, good skaters, and they're gonna want to have their bottom six be guys that could grind other teams down and everything like that. I really think that
Yeah.
their best scenario is to move Lafreniere because I just don't see it working here. I don't. He doesn't know his role, and just go let him thrive somewhere else because he's going to be a role player here. Otherwise,
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, once he goes to another team, he's probably going to start putting up like 60 points a season, and that's going to suck to say, but it's not meant to be here. I do not think it is, and I'll be shocked if honestly him or Kako is not moved this summer. Or probably more likely him. I wouldn't want to see Kako probably gone, but
they're depleted at right wing. It would be Lafreniere.
yeah, it would have to be. No doubt.
And yet, Lafreniere needs a skating coach. Yes. The Rangers in general need a skating coach. Do they have an effective skater on this team? No.
They really do. The whole team does new one.
I think that if Kane was healthy, we would have seen his skating ability. I think that's a guy where he would have had the skating ability had he been healthy.
In Game 7, like, you saw like a couple like glimpses of it. Like, he was just like skating like around like just every defender. Like, I think if he truly gets healthy, like if he gets that hip surgery, you bring him back, he could still be so effective.
People are saying Kreider. He's a good straight line skater, but I'm talking like all around straight line, edge work, everything. Like, they just don't have that guy. They really don't. Because Fox, he's the opposite of Kreider, where he has good edge work and everything like that, but he's not a good straight line skater.
Mm-hmm.
They need someone that's like, I want to puke saying it, but Jack Hughes, who is able to skate well. They need a guy like that could skate.
They really
but they just don't have it. And I don't know who that guy may be to get this offseason, but this is going to be such a wild card of an offseason. I have zero clue what's going to happen.
What's going to happen? Like, last few summers, like, we kind of knew what we were in for, but this is going to be, who knows? Chris Drury's a closed book. We know that. So
I wonder if Ryan Lindgren's on the move this offseason.
Oh, that's a question. That is a question for sure. You
because
trade him and bring back Mikkola.
They could do that, but I don't know. Like, I was listening to Big Apple Hockey earlier, and Phil was mentioning that, and I kind of agree that Lindgren, he's a good fit. He's a good defenseman, but on your top pair,
yeah,
I feel like you could do better. And sure, he's good, and I understand that they're a defense pair because they're best friends or whatever, but come on, that can't be a reason that they're your top pair. Obviously the goal is for Keandre Miller to jump into that role at some point, but we're just not seeing him take the strides at all.
Absolutely. I mean, we probably lucked out with that. Keandre Miller was definitely subpar of the season, so I can't imagine he gets a huge deal here this summer. So hopefully you get a little bit of a bargain, and then he starts really popping off for the Rangers and gets to that number one D pair role with Fox.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the contracts are just way too tricky. I think once Panarin's gone, though, I don't want to say never, because one, you can never say never. Two, Dolan's the owner, and that's really where I'm having a hard time saying this, but I would hope at the very least they learn their lesson and they don't sign a guy to that much of a cap percentage of the deal, because obviously the cap's going to go up, so players will get what Panarin's getting, but it will be less of the percentage of the cap at some point. But I think they need to look in the mirror and say, this was a mistake. we're not going to give a guy this much money unless it's like one of the Kachuk brothers. That's different, but I just don't think signing a guy like that to that type of deal is just worth it anymore. Like, look at the teams that win the cup, man. Like, Nathan McKinnon was on a sweetheart deal. The Avalanche win the cup with that. I'm pretty sure that there's not been a single team to win the cup with a player making 10 million or more. I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Damn. Did not know that.
And I can't foresee that changing this year either, because I mean, look at the teams left. I don't think that there's anyone making 10 million outside of Toronto. I don't think there's any team that's paying a guy that much money. Carolina certainly isn't. New Jersey isn't, because they got Hughes on a sweetheart deal also.
Yeah.
Toronto, I mentioned the Panthers.
Under 10 million.
Kachuk's under 10 million. I'm 90% sure. I could double check. No, Barkov's making 10 million, and Bobrovsky. How could I forget?
Oh, yes, Bobrovsky.
But that's 10 million flat. And then you go to the West. Dallas doesn't have anyone. Seattle most certainly doesn't have anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas, yeah, they're paying Jack Eichel a lot of money. And then for Edmonton, obviously, yeah, they are. But like, chances are it might happen again where a team with a player making that much money doesn't win.
Yeah, out of the 8 teams, it's only, I think, half of them that have a player making more than 10 million. So it just sucks. The Rangers, like, they needed that big, cap to go up. This summer, they need the cap to go up by a lot.
I mean, they needed it a while ago, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Is it even going to go up this summer? Like, maybe like 1 or 2 million?
It will go up 1 million, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Get you the limb of a fourth liner. You know?
Gotta love it.
Yeah, it's just such a bad situation. It's ugly.
It sucks.
It's very ugly, and when I thought the window was wide open, I'm really having my doubts, unless, of course, like I said, the coach is the second coming of Jesus Christ. I just don't foresee this window being very long. I don't.
No,
and I hate it. I hate it.
We thought Kakko, Lafreniere were going to be the real deal. They're not looking like that. Hedl, we thought. I mean, Hedl, I think he's playing up to expectation. Like, he's doing what he needs to do. And if he could play second line center, I think he could be in for like 55 to 60 points.
Yeah.
So it just sucks. Hopefully Zach Jones, like, we don't know what the deal is with him. And then Othman, hopefully he is the real deal too. But I mean, there's just no telling if he will be. And if he'll even be on the roster next year, probably not. But who even knows?
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd. I'm lost. I don't think anyone has answers either. That's what's bad. Nobody has answers here.
Nobody.
Twitter, I'm sure, doesn't have competent answers. I doubt anyone in chat has answers. I don't know. The cap is never a concern to me because of the fact that GMs always find a way. That's just the nature of the beast. They find a way, one way or another. Because when do you ever have a situation where a team goes into the year, it's like, oh my God, we don't have enough players. We don't have enough cap for players.
They always find a way, as you said.
Yeah.
After all, like the cap strapped the things that go around the league, they find a way. So hopefully Jory could do it.
Yeah. He needs to. He needs to, for my own sanity, for all of our own sanities. He needs to find a way here because I'm already dreading next season. I got to be honest. I'm dreading next season.
Oh gosh, walking into MSG opening night, whenever it is, it doesn't matter if it's the first game, just MSG opening night. I'm sure we'll be there, and who knows what to expect from this team. Who knows?
I mean, I'll tell you right now, if this coach isn't the second coming of Jesus Christ, there is not a shot in hell I'm spending as much money on games next year as I did this year.
Them tickets big time.
Yeah. It's oh fuck.
The New York Rangers, what they do to people.
I can't have fun. I can't have fun. I'm actually I am someone that doesn't care enough about football, but that's what I'm most excited for right now. My happiness relies on football at this point. Do you know how much that takes me to say?
Yeah.
That takes a lot. That takes a lot, considering I watch hockey more, I watch baseball more. Basketball, I'd say I'd watch roughly the same amount as football. That pains me to say.
Yep. It really just sucks. The Rangers and Mets are two teams. They just disappoint us. And
the Mets we called being a Fugazi ball club back in April, but, you know.
It's all right. It's all right. People want to keep up the positive Peter attitude, and we're going to make the playoffs. We got all this talent in the world. Yeah. For nothing. For nothing.
Yeah, and my happiness relies on my happiness is in the hands of the Eagles, and my God, I could tell you right now, the Super Bowl loss is only hurting more and more as the days go by because
if you won
I needed that. If they won that, I could have just leaned back on that.
Exactly.
Now it's like I have nothing to lean on. I don't.
Yeah, I can't.
But even then, I could see the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl at the very least.
Exactly.
Rangers next year, cannot envision them going to the Cup. Cannot envision the Mets going to a World Series. Certainly not that. No, probably not even the playoffs. And I certainly cannot see the Knicks being the Miami Heat. So
yeah, but I can't even rely my happiness on football. 27-0. If you know, you know.
Yeah, the Chargers.
Why do I do this to myself? Brutal. It's brutal out here.
At least the Jets got Rodgers. I mean,
yeah, maybe the Jets are on the come up.
And they got as many wins as they did last year without a competent quarterback. Like the Jets, I think the Jets will be fine. I think they'll be fine.
The Jets are what New York is relying for the most part because the Yankees suck too. The Islanders are
a mess.
Awful. Jesus Christ. I remember like a couple months ago, everyone was talking about how much on the come up New York sports are, but like they really aren't.
No. At this point, it was all talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cue Isaiah Thomas quote.
Who would have thought that New York football, what year are we in that New York football is the saving grace of this town?
That is a lot.
And I'm not even a fan of either of those teams also, so.
Who even cares for that? Well, people in chat, I'm sure. But.
Yeah, people in chat that stick to their town. I respect it. But I most certainly I just can't. Oh my God. This sucks.
It really does.
This is, I don't know what's worse. The heartbreak that I had to go through between the Mets losing the World Series, the Rangers losing in the conference final, and then losing in the Cup all within basically the span of a year, or this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I simply don't know what's worse right now.
That would be topped, but in the times we're going through right now.
At least the rebuild, we know we knew we sucked. Mm-hmm. We can embrace that we sucked.
Exactly. We were sitting there watching games, expecting this team to not be too hot, but it's all right. We'll come back strong. Yeah, I don't think we're doing quite that though.
That 2019-2020 season really fooled us too. I will say.
Fooled us so bad.
I will say they had us.
And Trouba was.
That opening night especially, couldn't write a better script for that opening night.
Trouba, Panarin goals.
That was the script of a Disney movie. Oh, Brett Howden got the game-winning goal, but that's about it. I can't believe I'm making Hartford Wolfpack videos too. Like, the fuck
Hartford
is my life?
Wolfpack is what's giving us the happiness at this point. We have to sell for minor league hockey teams. It's gotten that sad. At least give us a Hartford Wolfpack Calder Cup to feel something. We need to feel something, man.
Yeah, I'll be at that parade.
No matter what.
We will be there. We will so be there. We'll be the only ones there.
Pulling up to Hartford, Connecticut, baby.
Minus fucking, I don't know, Jimmy, who's just a random diehard Wolfpack fan. I've waited my whole life for this.
Waiting your whole life for a Hartford Wolfpack Cup. I mean, we don't do much better with the New York Rangers.
When I walked into the Garden for Game 2 of the Knicks, man, was it deflating not seeing the Ranger stuff there.
Oh, that was horrible. Oh my god, they took that down in a snap of a finger.
Yeah.
Like,
We
come
are-
on, man. Not even 24 hours.
We're lucky we were even at that game that they won. Because I
Yeah,
don't think
the
they're
one
winning
game-
another game this series.
You don't think so?
No.
Wait, they play again tomorrow?
No. I think they
There's been some long
Yeah, they
breaks in
probably
the
play the
season.
day after.
Yeah, they really got to somehow win in Miami and Florida make it 2-2. That's
What are the Leafs doing? Sam Lafferty and Eric Gustafson are scoring for you. Grow the fuck up. Grow up.
Their superstars don't show up like ours, though.
That's another team. Like, even though they made it past the first round, like
Yeah.
they did the thing finally. You
Could
have
they really
to
be
wonder.
happy?
Yeah, especially if they get swept. Like, are we?
We're not
Are
calling
we-
this
are we
season
satisfied
a-
here?
Yeah, we're not calling that season a success.
I think they trade William Nylander this offseason. He has been a ghost this postseason.
Yeah, he has. That would be a very interesting name to be on the move.
Don't give the Rangers ideas though.
Yeah, really.
I that's another guy who would disappear in the playoffs for us.
Yeah,
I'd like him for the regular season, but
Semi Panarin 2.
man, come playoff time, nope, no thanks.
No doubt.
I don't know if I have much else to say. I've ranted. I've lost my mind for the past hour and a half. It felt therapeutic.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is just going to be a question filled off season, and we're probably going to be more miserable as these days go on. Just our life with sports. As sports fans.
Why did I anchor myself with this fucking team? Like, what is wrong with me? I'm literally rocking Rangers gear every day by default. I have to wear long sleeves from here on out. What the fuck are
Too
you
bad
doing?
we
It's
can't
90
do that
degrees out.
this
What are
time
you
of year.
doing? Yeah, what are you doing? It's 90 degrees out. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
I'm too embarrassed to tell you. I don't know. I have a hickey showing here. That's why. No.
Gotta
big
think
deal.
of something.
I can't score in the dating life either. I can't score with my teams. There's no winning. There's no
Yeah.
winning here.
One day. Hopefully.
Hopefully is right, but that's gonna be where we wrap this up. Hopefully this was therapy for you guys as much as it was for us.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I somehow feel worse now than I did when the season ended. I did not think it was possible. I thought maybe I'd be a little more positive and be like, all right, maybe this will be no. There's nothing to look forward to. I'm ending the episode.